this basketball shoe better than the Nike Kobe 8 Protro? Let's talk about it. So this is the Player 1 Plus in the Wish colorway from a brand called Serious Player Only. Serious Player Only is an independent brand based in Asia, and they basically make basketball shoes. They've come onto the scene in the United States for a little over a year now, almost 2 years, and they're pretty popular, especially amongst hoopers who need, specifically Kobe alternatives, because Kobe's resale for a very high price, and these basically look like Kobe's. But this is a huge surprise to me because I have played in the Player 1 Plus, I have played in the Game 1, which are, basketball shoes from Serious Player Only, but this Player 1 Plus is probably the best shoe that they have in my opinion. I really do like the Game 1, but I do believe that, personally for me, these are the best shoes that you can get from this brand. The first thing I want to talk about is the traction. So the traction is tire inspired, and you guys can see, these grooves here, they are very thick, cover a lot of surface area, and that's exactly how it performs, okay? So thickness, in durability, in terms of traction, in terms of bite, in terms of performance, this shoe is very good. I did even take these outdoors and the durability is working great. This shoe also squeaks really loud for those who like squeak. Just a disclaimer, squeak has nothing to do with actual basketball shoe traction performance, but a lot of hoopers like squeak like I do. So if you like a shoe that squeaks, then this is a shoe for you. I also brought these to dirty courts that pick up a lot of dust. Honestly, when I took these outside, they looked cleaner than, when I looked at the outsole after I played in a dirty indoor floor, and they still held up pretty well. You may have to wipe from time to time. I don't think this is like the best traction in the world, but it's still very, very good in my opinion. So the traction is definitely good. Similar to the Nike Kobe 8 Protro, it does come with a drop-in midsole. So Serious Player Only actually has a couple of different midsole designs, and this is the strength midsole, I believe, but there's also a quick midsole that came with the shoe. I'm not sure which one is better or actually the differences between the two. Honestly, among, try on and stuff, they felt pretty similar, but I do think, the strength midsole is supposed to provide a little bit more stability and firmness. So I do like, the strength midsole right here, but basically what I'm trying to say is that this shoe is very much like the Kobe 8 Protro and Kobe 8 Original because the entire shoe is made up of the drop-in midsole, okay? So you can bend it if you take it out, and basically this is the cushion setup. So my thoughts on the cushion are that it's actually pretty dang good for a drop-in. The reason why I say that is because a lot of shoes with drop-in midsoles aren't, too plush, especially when we're thinking about the Kobe 8 Protro, because the Kobe 8 Protro has a React midsole, but you need to break that shoe in everywhere, traction, cushion, upper, because the upper is pretty stiff. We'll talk about that soon. But the Kobe 8 Protro midsole in terms of cushion is pretty firm unless you really play in it a lot and you break that cushion in. This is also pretty firm as well, but it is, pretty plush, especially in the back of the shoe, which was really nice. You do have plushness all throughout the midsole. You guys see this is a full slab of cushion, but it actually feels better than the Kobe 8 Protro. I'm just going to be straight up honest. At least from a playing perspective, I'm not sure if just walking around in these casually that the Kobe 8 Protro will feel better. But basically, among playing in them, I actually like these better than the Kobe 8 Protro in terms of cushion. I'm not sure if it's due to the thickness of the midsole or just the actual, cushion setup, the technology itself, but it felt pretty plush and it wasn't too bad. It felt like a good balance of court feel, responsiveness, and cushion, although it is much more on the firm side. Obviously, this is a drop-in midsole setup for guards, in my opinion. So, it is lightweight. It's not going to be like a full-length Air Zoom Strobel setup, but it is still pretty good. When I'm just thinking about the Kobe 8 Protro, I do like the cushion setup in these slightly better. When Serious Player Only first came out, I did play in the first Bruce Lee type of colorway, the yellow and black ones. And I felt like the sizing in those was much tighter and a little bit too one-to-one. But I think at the Player 1 Plus, it actually fits very good true to size. Now, I will say though that this shoe is pretty, one-to-one still, okay? You can still move your toes in it, at least for me going true to size, but it is kind of a narrow shoe still. So if you have a really wide foot, I would just recommend going up half a size. I do have a wide foot, but I do like my shoes a little bit snug, especially when I'm playing. I move a little bit fast, especially as a guard. So I want something that fits one-to-one for me so I'm able to perform. So I do like going true to size in these, but at the end of the day, if you have a wide, beefy, fat foot, or even just a cinder block foot, then I would recommend going up half a size. If you're a narrow and normal footer, then go true to size. The support in the shoe is very good as well, okay? So it actually has a very wide base, and you guys can see, you know, how it protrudes outward with that outrigger. So it's not going to, you know, be conducive of rolling your ankle over. There's also a carbon fiber shank plate in this. You guys can see the carbon fiber right here, which adds extra stability and support. So the support of these, there's nothing to complain about, but when we're thinking about the Kobe 8 Protro and these, I really think about the upper. So the upper of the Player One Plus consists of a mesh wire knitted upper, and it is very comfortable, it is very flexible, and it does feel breathable as well. The Kobe 8 Protro consists of an upper that is pretty rigid in my opinion. So when we're talking about both of these shoes, my main thing is the upper. Because the upper of the Kobe 8 Protro is very stiff in my personal opinion. Again, like I said, you do need to break the Kobe 8 Protro in, but with the Player One Plus, it is actually more malleable and more comfortable in my opinion. I think anyone who owns this shoe can attest to that. The upper is very supportive, but it also isn't the most flexible or the most comfortable in my personal opinion. Now that's a good thing because this shoe is very durable also in my opinion, but the upper isn't as flexible or as just comfortable as the Player One Plus. I would rank the tractions pretty much the same in my opinion. Both of these traction setups are very good performance-wise. Again, like I said, the cushion, I slightly like the Player One Plus better than the Kobe 8 Protro as well. Support is similar, pretty much the same. I'll give it to the Kobe 8 Protro just because the upper of these is a little more rigid, and honestly, the support features are very similar. You guys can even see these heel counters right here. They're actually very similar in design. The overall playability of the Player One Plus is very high. It is very good. I think if you are a guard, a fast guard, or even just a slower guard, it is just a very versatile shoe. I think the cushion, the traction is just very good for players, for any player, honestly, especially if you're a fast guard. So it's very similar to the Kobe 8 Protro in that way. It is also very light because it is consistent of a drop-in midsole shoe, just like the Kobe 8 Protro. So you're not really going to feel bogged down by the shoe at all. And aesthetically, they look very good. Now, I will give the looks aesthetic category to the Kobe 8 Protro just because of the Nike swoosh, Kobe Bryant, and the Kobe 8 Protro is one of the best looking basketball shoes of all time. But simultaneously, these are very good looking, and it's probably because they look pretty similar to the Kobe 8. So can I definitively say that the Player One Plus is better than the Kobe 8? I don't think so, because they're just a very similar shoe overall, and honestly, this is a little bit of a carbon copy between the Kobe 8 Protro, Kobe 8, and these. It's very obvious that these were inspired off of a Kobe shoe. They're not exactly the same, but also the inspiration is there. So I can't really say that the copy is better than the original, if that makes sense. But what I can tell you though, is that if you are looking for a shoe that's very similar to the Kobe 8 or any Kobe basketball shoe, probably not the Kobe 6. I don't think this compares to the Kobe 6, although it is very good up by itself on its own. But if you're looking for a shoe that's very similar to the Kobe 8 Protro and you're unable to get the Kobe 8 Protro, I honestly recommend these just because the performance is there. The performance is actually very good. There will be a group of people that say that this is better than the Kobe 8 Protro, and honestly, I cannot blame them at all because this is honestly a more comfortable shoe overall, especially because of the upper and slightly more, less firm cushion setup. I do like both shoes at the end of the day. I think that this shoe definitely competes with the Kobe 8 Protro. If you get a hooper that hoops exclusively in the Kobe 8 Protro and you give them these, I don't think their performance would ever diminish or that they'll feel honestly a big difference, because this shoe is very good in my personal opinion. So at the end of the day, that's my message, okay? So if you want the Kobe 8 Protro and you can't get it, you might as well just get these because these are available, the Kobe's are not, and there just doesn't make any logical sense unless you do want to pay resale for a Kobe 8 Protro, which again, that's your choice. I don't blame you at all. That's what I do. But the Player One Plus is actually very good in my personal opinion. It also looks like the Kobe 8 Protro. It also is just great looking. It is a great shoe by itself without even thinking about Kobe's. But I know a lot of you are comparing these to Kobe, so I just wanted to talk about that. So leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think of the Player One Plus, especially in this wish colorway. Red is my favorite color. I love monochromatic shoes, so this is one of my favorite shoes right now. But leave a comment down below letting me know what you guys think of these. Follow me on all socials at DG Hoops. Like, comment, and subscribe, especially if you made it this far. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.